Trippie Redd, the rapper that we all love, or at least semi-tolerate. It seems like you either really love this guy or really hate this guy, and even his fans don't seem to like him at this point. They're always hating on him and saying that he fell off. But is that true? And if so, why? I've noticed a rising trend recently where people will say that somebody fell off for this reason or that reason, and they never look that much deeper into what's actually going on. You see, there's the stuff we see on Instagram, which a lot of people like to take as fact, and the stuff that's actually going on behind the scenes. For some weird reason, people put Trippie in this weird box where they try to say he was never part of the clout wave, he never really was part of any of those antics, he kept it humble and focused on the music, but that couldn't be more true. I don't know where people are getting this from. I can only assume it's because they've only recently become fans and don't remember the history. I mean, don't get me wrong, Trippie definitely blew up in the underground for making some good music. He had Love Scars, which was a pretty big deal, and then he had those two albums, A Love Letter to You 1 and 2, and then he made Polls 14, 6ix9ine. He was hanging out with Lil Wop, he was getting No Jumper interviews, he was definitely somebody who was important to the underground, but I think even at the time, nobody really expected him to go really big or be mainstream. He was just another character in the rapidly growing SoundCloud scene. I mean, the way that he would sing on tracks, as well as his personality being so explosive.
Smoke a wood, in the woods, on some wood.
Definitely helped to differentiate himself from a lot of other people in the scene, but at the same time, he never really hit that big mainstream status until he started beefing with 6ix9ine. Now, this is kind of a topic for a whole nother day, and I know a lot of people are going to tune out if I start talking about this, but you know how Trippie always says that he made 6ix9ine? I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that. He definitely set 6ix9ine up to have a career and be able to get to the next level, but he never pushed 6ix9ine to actually be famous. I mean, he helped him get a record deal, he did some collabs with him, got him his first real big hit, you know, Polls 14, 6ix9ine is a big deal, but it didn't chart, that's one thing that's important, and kind of got his career off to a running start. But then after that, they put out Owie, and that didn't do as well, and then Zeta Zero, that didn't have Trippie, but I'm just saying, it's not like 6ix9ine just rapidly blew up after 14, 6ix9ine. Like, that song was big, and then he kind of just went back to being in the underground. It wasn't until Gummo that he actually hit the charts, and yes, I know Trippie gave him the beat for that, but that was more of a throwaway beat, and 6ix9ine really turned that song into everything it would eventually become. And Trippie only earned his first hit when he made Dark Knight Dummo, which had a Travis Scott feature, and of course was a play off of Gummo. Now, I'm not saying that song wasn't good, I'm not saying he doesn't have talent, but I'm just saying you're starting to see kind of the clout chasing antics here, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody was doing it around the time, but you can't say Trippie was all about the music when he was doing shit like that. I mean, he was constantly provoking 6ix9ine. I mean, he's the one who actually started the beef.
I'm sorry, bros. 1400 don't promote pedophiles.
And yes, I get it. 6ix9ine had those nasty charges around him, so he definitely had to cut him off. But then after that, he continued to call him gay and kept going at him. He sent like 3-4 disses at 6ix9ine, and I know he was mad because of the whole Pierre Bourne beat type of thing, and he was upset that he could never work with Pierre again because 6ix9ine kind of screwed it up for him, so he was right to be mad. But as soon as 6ix9ine blew up, Trippie Redd invited him to a music video shoot, and yes, this was more the label's idea, but at the same time, he was trying to get clout off of him once he blew up, trying to make good then when he was dissing him when he was in the underground. You're starting to see what I mean here. And I mean, it's almost impossible to be on 6ix9ine's side with anything because he always takes it way too far, but at the same time, what I'm saying is that Trippie perpetuated it the entire time. There was times they're at peace, Trippie would get on Instagram, get drunk and say, I make you 6ix9ine, start beefing back and forth. He made more videos at 6ix9ine.
Shit lame as fuck. These niggas be going on, niggas be going in their bank pulling out 300K. All the money they own, nigga, 300K. Just to return it back to the bank. You niggas goofy. And y'all ain't even paying the hood. How you niggas gonna rep a hood that you ain't even paying, nigga? You ain't giving none of them niggas no bread, nigga. You was not a blood until them niggas came around. You did the niggas dirty. You ain't get them niggas shit, and you trying to take over their shit, man. Hey, look, the nigga 6ix9ine is Shang Tsung. If y'all ever played Mortal Kombat, y'all know the shit Shang Tsung.
Trippie had absolutely no issue beefing with 6ix9ine when he was the bigger artist. I mean, I know they were both kind of on the same level, but I do feel like 6ix9ine was bigger. He was getting hit after hit after hit. And this moral high road, oh, I don't want to address 6ix9ine shit, only came after he got out of jail because Trippie was already pretty big at that point. But I know what you're saying. Okay, that's only one beef and 6ix9ine really made it worse, so that's the only reason that Trippie was ever included in clout antics. Well, what about the X beef? Why there was personal stuff there, and I have a whole video on that if you want to watch it. Trippie definitely perpetuated that as as well. X tried time and time again to try to squash this beef, and yes, 6ix9ine was involved, provoking both sides, but every time Trippie reacted and started beefing with X again. Maybe he was just really mad, but at the same time, I feel like it kind of was for clout. It's like, okay, if I keep beefing with X and 6ix9ine at the same time, my name's always going to be in the news, I'm always going to be relevant, and then after that, he became friends with Juice WRLD. Of course, Juice WRLD was a really big rapper, and I'm not saying that Trippie wasn't, but you know, he keeps getting in with these big rappers to get more attention. He keeps getting big name features. He keeps messing and beefing with people, getting his name in the news. He's doing everything he can. I mean, there's videos of him eating spaghetti with ketchup in an orange jumpsuit. Like, don't get me wrong, that was the way the game was, but Trippie was definitely part of it. And then of course, after X passed away, he got part of that legacy. Now, some people think they were close friends, some people think it was for clout. I don't want to say too much because I know it's going to make people really mad, but that definitely helped his career go even farther.
A lot of people
I'm a music critic too, and guess what? Greatest duo of all time.
Okay. Yeah.
I give him that. I feel like our duo was bigger than XXT.
You think so?
I give him that. I feel like our duo was bigger than XXT.
6ix9ine. 6ix9ine. Okay, what about this? 6ix9ine. Nigga.
Our duo was way
bigger
bigger than
like
XXT.
him and you as a duo was bigger than X and T. That's huge. I think that's a huge statement, yo.
Listen though, they couldn't mix timeless music with.
I mean, he then dropped an entire album called !, which I know was dedicated to X, but at the same time, that's going to get you more attention because ! is a huge album. Everybody cares about X because he just recently passed away, and now you're going to get clout off of that as well. So that gives you more sales on an album. I mean, he was more tactful about it. He was better at masking what he was doing, but how is this any different than Lil Pump? I mean, the music is better to go alongside it, but I mean, you could say the same thing about 6ix9ine, doing antics online to get attention on his music, which wasn't that bad. I mean, Trippie even dropped a song the day after X passed away with a Quavo feature on it when he knew that X and Quavo were beefing. He put it up with Ski Mask on it. Then an hour later, he took it down, put it back up with Quavo on it. He knew that was going to get attention. But you know, as time went on, eventually Trippie became part of X's legacy, but that faded. 6ix9ine went to jail, so that beefing was over. Trippie started making more music. You know, he was doing well for a while, but then of course, Juice WRLD passed away. Now, I really do think that these two were close, so I don't want to say too much about it, but when he passed away, of course that got Trippie more fame. I'm not going to say that he was clout chasing off of Juice's death because I don't think he was. I'm just saying time and time again, he's finding a way to get himself relevant. There's no steady just being relevant. He has to pop his name into the news over and over again to keep himself there, which is what a lot of rappers have to do, but when you're doing that constantly, it's not going to make your career that long. But Trippie really proved us all wrong because he blew up back in like 2016, 2017, and he's still around in 2024 and not doing too bad of numbers. I mean, he hopped on that whole rage sound that definitely got him a lot more relevance. He got on there with Playboi Carti and a bunch of other big name features. He's got like 40 plaques at this point, gold, platinum, all that. And I mean, that was way after 2019, so I really can't say that that's because of 6ix9ine, the X legacy, the Juice WRLD stuff. Trippie was really standing on his own. But how was he getting all those big name features? How was he putting together albums like this? How was he getting all the promo and everything to go along with it? Well, it's because of his label, 10K Projects. Now, I've talked about them a lot in recent videos, and I don't think a whole lot of people really know the history behind this whole record label because a lot of people see it, but it doesn't seem to be the biggest thing in the world like Republic. Well, that's because it's actually owned by the son of somebody who owns a bigger label. Elliot Grange is basically a nepo baby who got a bunch of money from his dad to open up a big company, and he decided to open up a record label. This label previously had acts like Lil Nar, Icy Narco. They're the ones who actually planted him in the first place. Poor Stacy, Ian Dior, whatever the who gives a shit. And they're pretty well known for planting people in the industry. A lot of people say that Ian Dior is an industry plant. He got all these big name features right off the gate. They're connected to internet money and that whole machine, so they're able to basically take an artist, sign them to a small time deal, get them famous, and then do a couple albums with them and cash out. They're not really known for keeping artists around for the long run, and for the longest time, that's basically how it was. The first few artists they got were Trippie Redd and 6ix9ine. They helped build Trippie's career from the ground up, and they also helped 6ix9ine out a lot, but eventually after he went to jail, they signed him, but they kept it more kind of undercover and didn't really do shit for him. So while he was the big star of the label for a while, Trippie really was the star that was actually getting the push. If you ever randomly see Travis Barker pop up on an artist track that you would never expect, it's probably because they're connected to 10K Projects. For some reason, they always get Travis Barker on almost every artist that they sign. Josiah worked with them for a while, he did one project and then he left. Poor Stacy worked with them for a while, did one project under them, and then he left. Once again, we got Icy Narco, who did one project and was completely scrapped. It seems like they shoot a lot of shots, but they never really really stick with artists. They try to make them into something and it often works, but they never really stick by them. I'm not sure if that's on the artist part or just that 10K can't seem to get them in a record contract that really works for them. But with Trippie, that's not the case. They definitely want him to stay at that label. There was actually a point that he said he was going to go independent and they offered him $30 million to stay at 10K, so they really want him to be on the label. Because yeah, without a doubt, he's their biggest star. Like Ian Dior is a pretty big deal too, but Trippie Redd actually helped set up Ian Dior, so Trippie still is the bigger artist, and he was like that for years and years. But that all changed around 2022-2023 when a new artist was signed to the label. And who's that? Well,
think you the shit, bitch? You not even the fault.
Ice Spice. That's right, that artist that we all love to hate who blew up bigger than anyone could have ever expected. She's definitely one of the biggest artists in the world right now. I mean, she has a song with Taylor Swift. I mean, she's making big moves. So because of that, that means that the label is putting all their effort into her. 10K is a pretty small label overall. It's not one of these massive companies with thousands and thousands of employees where you can have different teams to work on different things. It's basically only like 40, 50 people. And that's why a lot of these smaller artists like to sign there, because they can get an easy deal. And while it is a big record label owned by some pretty powerful people, it still feels kind of independent and, you know, built from the ground up. But at the same time, they don't have as many resources as other companies. So that means that all the resources that were once being used for Trippie Redd have gone to Ice Spice. It's not a coincidence that Trippie Redd started to flop when Ice Spice started to rise. After all these years, he's no longer the big star of the company, and she is, which means they're not giving that much attention to him, but he's signed into that $30 million deal, so he's not really able to get out of it. Which means that all the promo falls onto him, so he starts trying to beef with other artists, but it doesn't work as well because he was already taking that high road, I'm better than everybody else, and when he does beef with other artists, it feels like he's punching down at this point.
C-list rappers, nigga, we about to create a Avengers of trash niggas, nigga. We gonna sell what? If we all put our 30,000 first week together, nigga, we gonna make a bill, nigga.
I mean, let's be honest, Trippie Redd is pretty fucking obnoxious. But he only ever looked good because he was fighting with 6ix9ine, who was like the most obnoxious person to ever exist. So of course you're gonna look good when you're fighting with that person. But when he beefs with anybody semi-normal, then he just comes off as completely annoying to everybody. So he's not getting a whole lot of new fans off of clout chasing. Other fans want him to go back to the music. He's not getting that push from his label anymore, and it's just making a big shit Sunday that's just basically killing his career. So does that mean that Trippie's gonna completely fall off at this point? Well, I don't really think so. He's always gonna have some sort of career. He's definitely a face in the SoundCloud world. A lot of people really fuck with him, and of course he's always gonna have that connection to Juice and X, so he's always gonna be remembered for that, just like Ski Mask the Slump God. But I'm not sure if he's ever going to be as big as he was again. But honestly, if I had any advice for Trippie, what I would do right now is I would take a little bit of a step back from Instagram, dropping constant projects. You have a nice healthy body of music that your fans can listen to, and really tap in and try to make that album, that one legacy defining album that will change everything. I mean, you've done the whole A Love Letter to You thing 5 times. I think he's done with that whole series. You made some pretty good albums. Pegasus wasn't great, but I feel like now's the time to really take a step back, get in the studio, don't worry about big name features and all the clout and shit that goes around it. Just tap in and really try to tap into those emotions and make a great album. Focus on changing it up, making music you really like, beautiful, great, timeless music, and name the album Trippie Redd or something like that. Something that just defines your entire legacy. I think he can do it. I think he does have talent, but will he do it? I don't know. I think Trippie just loves messing with people online, so he's probably going to continue to do that, but if he does, so be it. Whatever. But yeah, I was just hoping to bring a bit of a more nuanced take to why Trippie Redd's probably falling off. It's most likely because of Ice Spice taking all the resources away from the label, and not because Trippie called out a bunch of artists and that basically killed his career because people didn't like it and he's not making that opium music in here. Whatever, I don't fucking know. Anyways guys, love you. Let me know what you think. If you think that's complete bullshit, if you think that Trippie Redd is not a clout artist and he's always been about the music, or you don't think he's falling off, I definitely want to hear your opinions in the comments below. And you guys should also fight about what his best album is. I think that'd be kind of funny. Yeah, everybody fight. But anyways, like the video, subscribe, got a Discord server if you want to join there, and a second channel where I post music. That's all my advertisement, and for now, that's it. Bye.